We back. Week 12, January 24th, Sunday. Another Sunday, 10:38. I'm an hour ahead in my mind. 10:38 p.m. East Coast time. EST. Let's get it started. A lot to cover this week, a lot to talk about this week. Shout out to all the football fans. Super Bowl 50 on its way. Denver Broncos. Panthers. Carolina Panthers. Travis, what up, man? I know you're a Panthers fan. Congratulations on your Panthers making it out to the Super Bowl, getting back to the Super Bowl. It's been years. What are we going to discuss this week? Frustration, meaning, and holistic compatibility. 3 things we will discuss this week. We have a lot of quotes this week as well. For everyone on the East Coast, from Georgia, Carolinas, D.C., Baltimore, Maryland, NY, Jersey, we all got clobbered with snow. Like, I don't even know the official snowfall amounts, but like 2-3 feet. Blizzard of 2016 in full effect. I don't remember this much snow since like 03 at least. If not, blizzard in 96 when I was still in Staten Island. I was like 9 years old or something. But yeah, it definitely, it's nice to see snow. I bet a lot of people thought we were going to get away with no snow this winter, but it snuck up on us pretty quick. So yeah, for those of you who enjoy the snow, having fun in the snow, good for you. Everyone else, digging out, I know it could be a hassle, but it'll be springtime sooner than we know it. So, other than football and the weather, let's hop right into it. 7 Days of Wisdom, Week 12, Monday, January 18th, was MLK Day, Martin Luther King Jr., the legend himself. And one of the quotes that I mentioned on Monday actually came from Robert Sapien, but we'll get into that later in quotes of the week. For right now, let's hop into meaning. As I'm finally starting to finish up on this book, Man's Search for Meaning, I came into part 2, which started around page 99. That's really like the essence and climax of this book, Man's Search for Meaning. Page 99. Once you hit page 99, that's the meat and potatoes of it. No pun intended. And it starts off with the will to meaning. So, what is the will to meaning about? Essentially, the will to meaning, as I mentioned, I put this in one of my Facebook posts. The will to meaning is about our search for meaning being the primary motivation in our lives and not a secondary rationalization of instinctual drives. And this is mentioned exactly in the book, page 99. This meaning is unique and specific in that it must be fulfilled by us alone, individually. Only then does it achieve a significance which will satisfy our own will to meaning. So, our own meaning is very personal. It's unique. And it only achieves significance when it's fulfilled by us alone. No one else can fulfill it. Only we can fulfill it. In which it then achieve significance, and that's when we satisfy our own meaning. And this goes back to an earlier episode I did in which I discussed identity, calling, which can be synonymous with meaning, and then assignment, which is our day-to-day role. In this case, it was also mentioned that assignment is sort of like someone's vocation. Alright? So, seeing it that way, when you look at your career, your vocation as your assignment, is your assignment, is your career, is your vocation, your current vocation, does it align with your calling? Does it align with your meaning? Is it something of significance, of purpose, of value? These are all questions you may want to ask yourself. And by the way, if you're looking at this around my neck, it is an apron. I was cooking. A little while ago, I made some mushroom soup. So I just wanted to, point that out, because I know some of y'all are probably looking like, yo, what is that around his neck? So yeah, it's an apron. I'm still wearing it. But yeah, back to meaning. Yeah, meaning is really something only we can satisfy and fulfill on a personal level. It really takes a lot of soul searching to identify our meaning, what that meaning is. It could be a lifetime meaning. It could be a temporary meaning. Meanings can change depending on where we are in our life. Our meaning may change. Once we satisfy one particular meaning, then we have to go about satisfying something else. And with that also comes frustration. So frustration arises when there's a disalignment between meaning, purpose, and calling, and then vocation and assignment. That's when frustration can arise. And there was a very good example in here that I'm looking for right now, in which, let me go way back. Let's see. In which a U.S. ambassador, U.S. diplomat, high-ranking American diplomat, he had a job as a diplomat, but he wasn't really fulfilled with his job. It was a great job, of course, but it was clear, and it says this on page 102, after a few interviews, it was clear that his will to meaning was frustrated by his vocation. And this is because the person, which is a U.S. diplomat, longed to be engaged in some other kind of work. So if you find yourself in a line of work that isn't fitting to what it is you want to be engaged in, that's a cause of frustration. Another way of putting this is, when your assignment does not align with your calling or your meaning, will to meaning, frustration in your life will occur. So frustration occurs when there is a misalignment in our life. And we can look at this in a variety of different capacities, whether it's relationships, expectations. We may have expectations of someone else, and they don't match up to those expectations. We get frustrated. So that's an example of frustration right there. So frustration usually occurs out of some type of misalignment. when things aren't in accordance with one another. That's what causes frustration. So in order to alleviate frustration, we have to think about how can we be in accordance with whatever it is we do, whether it's career, whether it's relationships, whether it's school, whatever it is. It's really about accordance. As long as we're in accordance with things, frustration becomes less of a big deal. So the best way to alleviate frustration is to be in accordance with yourself, the people around you, the universe, be in alignment with the things that are going on with your life. As long as everything is aligned, frustration should not be a problem. Lastly, holistic compatibility. So last night, I revisited a passage, a quote from Gary Zukov. I think that's how you pronounce his name. And I'm looking for it right now. And it's funny because Gary Zukov is actually, his book, The Seed of the Soul, spawned a breakthrough for Oprah. And she mentions this a lot back in 1989 in regards to intention and the importance of intention in her life back then. And back in October, I came across a quote on Pinterest in regards to spiritual growth and a spiritual partnership. And it said, the new female and the new male are partners on a journey of spiritual growth. They want to make the journey. Their love and trust keep them together. Their intuition guides them. They consult with each other. They are friends. They laugh a lot. They are equals. This is what spiritual partnership is. A partnership between equals for the purpose of spiritual growth. I remember when I first came across this on Pinterest, I'm like, yo, that's crazy. Like, that literally hits the spot, the core of, finding your soulmate, finding your partner, finding that match. And I remember when I first posted it back in October 23rd to be exact, 2015, on my Facebook. I'm like, man, that's crazy. And I immediately knew that I would revisit it and that I wanted to kind of break it down as well. So yesterday I revisited it and kind of did more of an elaborate post on my website and tied it to Gary Zukov and Oprah and just the essence of everything, a true partnership, a spiritual journey, divine love, connection, all of that kind of stuff, just us opening up and digging deeper and not settling and finding what's right for us. We deserve what's right. We deserve the right to be selective with the people we choose to be around and engage with. And, especially when it comes to a deep level of engagement. It's very important. Intimacy, romantic relationships, and that gets to holistic compatibility. Holistic compatibility to me is like the prime partnership match on all levels, or if not all levels, many levels. You know, financially, socially, mentally, physically, all levels of wellness, emotionally. You know, it's that type of compatibility. You know, holistic compatibility, that circle of life. And of course, it's not going to be perfect, you know. However, whatever's not operating well can always be worked on. That's what life is all about. It's about the process. It's about the journey. And as long as intentions are good, this goes back to the premise of setting intentions, being intent, the seed of the soul. As long as intentions are good, then, and this is also something I extracted as a quote, perfection is less in the result as it is in the willingness to persist, learn, and improve. So as long as intentions are good, perfection in itself is less in the result as it is in the willingness to persist, learn, and improve. So the journey, the process, that, you know, striving for that is the perfection in itself, not the end result. That's what I believe. That is what I believe. So that's holistic compatibility. And this week I have a grateful moment to share, which happened on, man, when did that happen? Let's see. Give me a minute. Was it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday? '20th, Wednesday. So Wednesday, I was at school, January 20th, early morning, and students in the hallway, I hear a student run up to one of my students that I had that period, and the student, female student, was like, "Yo, you got Mr. Kelley?" And then the student I had, which I had last year as well, she's like, yeah, I got Mr. Kelley. And, you know, they were both smiling. And that was a good moment for me. It's like, anytime students can appreciate a teacher, appreciate a good person in their life, it feels good. So it's the small moments like that that I appreciate and acknowledge. And it's also those small moments that allow me to keep doing what I do, and that really allow me to smile. So I just wanted to share that moment. That's my grateful moment of the week. Wednesday, January 20th, when I was in school, the New Brunswick Middle School. So shout out to all the students in New Brunswick, all the students that attend New Brunswick Middle School. Just wanted to point that out. Quotes of the week, starting Monday, which was MLK Day. There's no better antidote to fear than community. I kind of took this quote and applied it to MLK Day because, of course, community service, MLK Day is Service Day, especially, you know, when I was in City Year, it's a huge day for them. Dedicated Service Day, and service is important for our communities, for our people, for us. Service is why I started this video series in the first place. This video series is a way of me being of service and spreading knowledge, sharing insight to the community at large, those who choose to tune in. Sundays, to me, is also a day of service. A lot of people go to church on Sundays. A lot of people see Sundays as a way of worship and reflection and giving back. So this 7 Days of Wisdom video series is my way of service and giving back. Wisdom, insight, education, whatever I can offer, it's my way of service. So Robert Safian, who was the editor-in-chief of Fast Company magazine, actually said that, quote, "There's no better antidote to fear than community." That quote actually was from a Fast Company Innovation Festival that happened last year, I think November. Um, the inaugural Fast Company Innovation Festival. And when he mentioned community, it really meant the community of entrepreneurs, business leaders, and how, as long as you're in that incubator, in that community of business leaders, thought leaders, entrepreneurs, there's nothing to be fearful of, because we have one another's backs. And it's the same for any community. As long as it's a community which consists of people who have relations with one another, who support one another to be better and empower one another, there's nothing to be scared of. Because what you may fear, someone else has already encountered, and they've overcome that fear. So as a result, they can help you to overcome that fear, and vice versa. So with community comes power, comes impact, and comes strength. And with that, there's nothing to fear. So there's no better antidote to fear than community. Robert Safian posted that up Monday, January 18th, 11:48 a.m. to be exact, Facebook. Second, don't put yourself in environments and situations that have the ability to compromise your values. We all have value systems, integrity. So whenever we put ourselves in a position or an environment that may compromise those values, it makes it difficult for us to live life the way we may want to live life. There's certain environments I just don't want to be in, because I know it may elicit certain things out of me that I much rather not elicit. So knowing that, I'd rather not put myself in those situations or those environments. So don't put yourself in environments and situations that have the ability to compromise your values. That was Tuesday. Wednesday the 20th. This was early in the morning, 5:33 a.m. Lead through action and set the example. What was I thinking back then? I was probably just thinking of just leading through action, setting an example, just being a true leader. If you're not willing to do something as a leader, then there's nothing to lead. Who are you leading if you're not willing to do whatever it takes to be in a position of influence and leadership? So lead through action, set the example. That was Wednesday morning. Claim what is already yours. Again, Wednesday morning, 5:34 a.m., January 20th, 2016. Claim what is already yours. It's out there for the taking. It's just a matter of us claiming it. So what do you want? What is it you want out of this world? Claim it mentally. Visualize it. It's yours. Now you just have to go out there and get it. Claim what is already yours. That's what I meant by that. Wednesday again, afternoon. This comes from Fast Company magazine. Again, in relations to Fast Company's inaugural Fast Company Innovation Festival. Editor-in-Chief Robert Safian mentioned, by juxtaposing perspectives and industries, talents, and ideas, we unlock a swarm of insights and inspiration. By juxtaposing perspectives and industries, talents and ideas, we unlock a swarm of insights and inspiration. Teachers, educators, business owners, thought leaders, entrepreneurs, scientists, architects, construction workers, engineers. Imagine if all industries had a platform to collaborate and share best practices. How much better will the world be? A lot better. We'll all be improved, we'll all be smarter, more intelligent, and we'll be pulling from ideas that we'll be pulling from sources and corners of industries that we may not have necessarily thought of pulling from. And that is what innovation is. You know, innovation is the product of mistakes, as Max Chafkin once said. Innovation is a product of mistakes made, actually. Innovation is also the ability to connect things that may traditionally not have been thought to connect. So it's pulling from different sources and creating something new from something old, creating new ideas from existing concepts and piecing things together and making those connections. So yeah, a lot of insight and inspiration can come out of juxtaposition, the juxtaposition of industries, the juxtaposition of viewpoints and perspectives from all across the world. That's innovation. Next up, suffering. Viktor E. Frankl, Thursday, Man's Search for Meaning. Suffering ceases to be suffering at the moment it finds a meaning, such as the meaning of sacrifice. So in order to provide closure to a very difficult situation, we must find meaning in that situation. Once we find meaning, there's no more suffering. Whatever it is, we may suffer, we may mourn, whether it's the death of someone, the loss of someone, a heartache, a heartbreak. But once meaning is found within that situation, there's no longer any cause to suffer, because the meaning is literally the closure and the start of a new beginning. That's pretty deep. So yeah. Suffering ceases to be suffering at the moment it finds meaning. So find meaning in everything. Your life, your situations, the things around you. Search for meaning, and things begin to make sense. Like life itself begins to open up for us once we're able to find that meaning. Next, don't aim to gain pleasure nor avoid pain, but rather seek meaning in life. Don't aim to gain pleasure nor avoid pain, but rather seek meaning. So we have pleasure, we have pain. Don't aim to gain pleasure. Don't aim to avoid pain, but rather seek meaning in life. So always look for meaning. Don't try to escape. Don't try to indulge, but rather search for meaning, seek meaning in life. Alright? Stay balanced, stay centered, stay harmonious. And have a few more left. God sends gifts, pay attention to the signs. yesterday as it was snowing, I was just looking out the window, all the snow, reminiscing, daydreaming. And I thought, man, God sends gifts. Like, all the snow was a reason for me to stay inside and get some things done, do some reflection, and really think about what's next for me in my life. And I thought, man, God sends gifts. Pay attention to the signs. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm just paying attention to everything that's going on. I'm paying attention to the signs. So that was something I thought of yesterday. God sends gifts. It's up to us to pay attention to the signs. Perfection, and this is the last one. And I mentioned it earlier. Perfection is lessen the result as it is in the willingness to persist, learn, and improve. So let's work on not having a perfect result, but perfecting our persistence. Let's work on perfecting our willingness to learn and perfecting our strategy and approach when it comes to improving. So let's worry less about a perfect result and worry more about perfecting the process. Let's perfect our process in regards to moving forward and achieving the things we want to achieve in life. And with that being said, 31 minutes has already gone by. That's it. I'm glad I could squeeze all this in. I didn't expect it to be this long. I think this is the longest one yet. But either way, it's good, something to reflect on. Another moment in history, another time capsule, another digital journal entry that I can look back on, we can look back on in years to come. With that being said, 7 Days of Wisdom, episode 12 is a wrap. Episode 13 coming up next week, which will be the 31st, last day of the month. I'm looking forward to it. I have no idea what I'll be discussing yet, but I'm sure that we will come up with something. Until then, have an impactful week and make it count. Alright? Take it easy. See you on the next go round. Peace.